Hi everyone, I'm Yolanda, and in this tutorial I'll be showing you how to make a very popular flower in orange color since we are approaching autumn. But before we continue, I'd like to send a big shout out to all my subscribers, especially those that have been in this channel since the beginning. In today's tutorial, I will be making a poppy flower in orange color. Then we will place these flowers on a covered fondant cake. So let's get started. To make the poppy petals, I'm using a penny flower cutter. First, let's make the center of the flower. Take a 22 gauge florist wire about 3 to 4 inches long. Using a needle nose pliers, make a hook at the end of the wire. Set aside. Next, take a small ball of gum paste and turn it into a teardrop shape that looks like a cone, flattening the wider side of the cone. Take a tweezer and pinch 7 tiny lines starting from the center to the outer edge of the flattened cone. Then, dip the wire in edible glue and pass through the cone, starting from the long part of the cone up to about half an inch through. Careful not to pierce through the top. Let the cone dry for a day or two. Cut 626 gauge wire 6 or 7 inches long and set aside. Next, take some black thread and using the fingers make loops going around 30 to 40 times. Remove loops from fingers and tie loops with wire. Wrap loops in floral tape. Using a pair of scissors, cut loops in halves. These will be your stamens. Make about 6 to 7 loops just like this. Make 2 sets of 3 loops and wrap with floral tape together. Using light green, yellow and brown color dots, I'm going to color the top center of the cone. Wrap all stamens around center with floral tape, and you have just made the center for the poppy flower. To make the petals, roll out a small piece of gum paste to 1/16 of an inch, leaving the side where you will place the bottom of the cutter thicker than the rest. Cut petal. Take a 3 to 4 inch long 22 gauge wire, dip in edible glue, and insert through the bottom of the petal up to about half an inch. Careful not to pierce the petal. Place the petal diagonally on a leaf texturizer. Then take a small rolling pin and roll on the petal as to elongate it. Then place the petal on the thin foam and soften the edge. To soften a petal, use a ball tool. We have for the ball on the petal and the other half on a thin foam. Slide the ball tool on the edge of the petal. Let petal dry for 1 or 2 days. Using orange, yellow, and brown petal dust, I'm painting all the petals. The orange will be the base color, the yellow for highlights, and the brown for the top edge of the petals. To assemble the flower, wrap 2 petals around the center of the flower. This will be your first row of 2 petals. Then wrap 1 petal behind each of the 2 previous petals. Then wrap the 2 other petals between the gaps. This will be your second row, which will have 4 petals. To open the flower, pull apart the second row extremely careful as the petals are very fragile. Open 2 petals to one side and the next 2 to the opposite side. Then open the top row, pulling 1 petal between each gap on top of the first row. Let me explain what I did here with this cake. I've prepared this cake ahead of time, covering the cake with fondant. I then inserted 3 flower spikes where I'm going to place the flowers. I also applied small flat flowers made out of fondant. I cut these flowers using a tiny fondant cutter that I have right here. I've made these borders out of fondant using a fondant mold of tiny flowers. You do not need to use one like this. You can use your own or whatever you have available. I like to show you the flower spikes that I've used to hold the flowers. It is something like this. It is important that you do not place your flowers that you have wrapped in floral tape in your cake. Your flower and your wires should not be touching your cakes. They are not food grade. Therefore, they should not be in touch with your cakes. Even though your flowers are made with gum paste, which is edible, but the tape and the wires are not edible. Therefore, that makes the entire flower unedible. So please be sure to use flower spikes. Also, I want to show you how my cake board is covered with fondant and then I wrapped a ribbon around it to match the flowers. To insert your flowers into your flower spikes, use your needle nose pliers. Just push the flowers down gently and that's it, you are done. If you need to rearrange or move the flowers, use your pliers at all times. Never with your fingers, always use your pliers to get a better grip. And now it's time for the final touches. You can rearrange the way your flower looks. And by the way, you see the leaves here with the jagged edges. That's because poppy flowers leaves are always jagged like that. If you need to twist or remove the flowers, remember, use your pliers. This has been all for today. Thanks for watching. I hope that you've learned something today. Please share and subscribe to my channel if you like the tutorial. You can also send me pictures of the work that you do using the techniques that I teach in this channel. You can send them to my Facebook page, and if you like your pictures to be uploaded to my page, you can send it along with an authorization for me to do so. I will see you back here again sometime soon with another tutorial similar to this one. In the meantime, happy baking and God bless you.